Little girl got a nerf on test server in which, honestly speaking, the only nerf she has right now is that her page pushback in distance has not been increased at all. So they kind of reverted this buff that they were initially going to be given towards little girl. But you know what, it's still okay overall. From the side of the little girl, when she drops down a pallet and when she pushes the page down and she gets pushed, you can still vault over windows or pallets no matter what you do. And she gains 1.6 or 1.5 memory fragments at the start of the game. But realistically speaking, it's only this push that hasn't been increased when it comes to distance. That's about it for little girl. Next will be Lucky Guy. So for Lucky Guy, when he wishes for a Magician's Wand right now, instead of getting 2 Magician's Wand, he'll still only just get 1. So we have reverted this change from the side of Lucky Guy. But not only that too, if we go straight towards our chest here and look for a Thief's Flashlight, from the side of Lucky Guy now, the flashlight usage time will be reduced from 26 seconds to 19.5 seconds. And this is for the next 19.5 seconds, we're going to have a timer. Sorry, I forgot to turn it off. We're going to try again. For the next 19.5 seconds, we're going to have a timer. Next will be Entomologist. So for Entomologist, there is a slight adjustment for her bees. We've changed the visibility settings for Entomologist bees. So in a sense as well, right? If you're really far away from the bees, I'm quite sure you can see these bees globally now. So when Ento places her, oh no, it's not global. Okay, so there's a distance. So this is the kind of distance for the bees. But what is really interesting is the closer you are towards the bee, the less visibility there is. So as you can see here, the visibility, the opacity starts to go down. And we're very close towards the bees, you basically can't see it anymore. So that's kind of this for Entomologist. I don't know whether it's a buff or a nerf, but oh well, it is what it is. This is one of the most requested buff for Ento, by the way. So for Ento right now, when she has a bee, as you can see there, and she's down on the ground, she can now get rid of the bee. So here, as you can see, I'm an Entomologist, I'm down on the ground, I'm going to control my bees, ha ha ha, and I can also disperse my bees as well, just like this. I press R, my bees are gone, I cannot control my bees anymore, as you cannot use this item because you are down. For Explorer got a really big buff, by the way. We're from Joseph's point of view right now, because remember last time we used Feaster, this time we'll use Joseph instead. So what do we know about Joseph? We know that when Joseph uses his card tricks, he can point himself towards the direction where the next survivor is. But now, after Explorer's previous buff, in which you cannot detect it based on the tentacles and based on a double surprise, we're going to add a protection against Hellenberg and Photographer's time jump. So if he goes in towards miniature mode, as we can see here, he's right in front of us, right? But I'm just going to use my card trick here real quick. We do not point towards Explorer anymore. I'm going to make it so that Explorer is now not in miniature mode, and I'm going to use my card trick. We're pointing towards Explorer. Once again, we're going to get Explorer to miniature mode. We're going to look away. We cannot point towards Explorer. I don't even know where we're pointing towards to, which is the funniest part of it all as well. What if I look this way? Who's over here? Ah, we point towards the next nearest survivor that actually is nearby. So see, we see that prison. So we're standing next towards Explorer, right? Explorer is up. We look at Explorer. However, Explorer is down. Explorer is the one that's closest towards us. Which direction do we point to? Which direction do we point to? We look at Prisoner, who's all the way over here. My god, Explorer is going to be so good next season. The next nerf here will be Novelist. So for Novelist, your stun duration when you switch over has been reduced by 0.15 seconds. More or less here. More or less here, it's just that I think it's for this. I really think it's for this. Let's just see here how fast a hunter can move away right after we switch. So in 3, 2, 1... You can still pallet stun if you're close enough. You know what? You can still pallet stun if you're close enough. But I think if you're just a little bit further out, like let's come towards this pallet, right? And I'm just going to get my Novelist to vault over that and come towards me too. So let's say we're in this direction. Usually when the hunter stuns, well, not the hunter stuns, my bad. We're going to switch positions here. Usually when the Novelist is in between the pallet and he changes direction, I'm controlling this with my hands, by the way, both accounts. So we go over. A Novelist runs over and can also move away too on time, so it doesn't feel like it's too bad. Let's just try here once again, but this time I'm gonna use this pallet here instead, and this is like the distance we're looking at. So I'm gonna look this way. We're gonna swap over. I'm gonna try. But then, like, when you get stunned, you can get out of the paddock here ASAP. So from the side of Novelist now, I think the best course of action for him is that he needs to be very close towards the hunter in order for them to swap and then pallet stun, because or else like it's just not enough stun time because the hunter will be able to get out on time. So that's kind of Novelist's nerf. Now let's look at Archer. So Archer will be receiving some nerfs here as well, but let's just go through them one by one and slowly. So when Archer uses her bow and arrows, instead of there being 60 stacks of laceration in total, there will only be 50. So we've basically decreased it from 60 lacerations to 50 lacerations. However, the next part of her nerf is the fact that when you stay stationary and you apply laceration effects, it will be decreased very fast from now on. So as we can see here, before like any of the laceration effects stands in, this 50% mark will stay there for like, you know, how many seconds? For 2 seconds or 1 second before it dies down. But see here, I'm gonna stop moving instantly and let's see how fast it goes down. The moment you stop, it goes down instantly. The moment you stop, it goes down instantly. So from the side of the hunters, they don't necessarily need to, they can just stand still and they'll not have laceration effect within the next second. So that's our next nerf. And of course, last but not least, when we get stunned by the laceration effect, instead of the stun being 2.5 seconds, it will now be 1.5 seconds, as I'm gonna jump right here. The stun, you will recover way faster now. So instead of 2.5 seconds, it'll be 1.5 seconds. And next will be Meteorologist. So for Meteorologist, when you use your items, like maybe let's say your wind, the cooldown time of your glass will be 11 seconds instead of 10 seconds now. So when we use this, it's an 11-second cooldown. Sorry, I should have disabled it. We'll try it again. When I use this, it's now an 11-second cooldown. As you can see, instead of a 10-second cooldown. So we got a cooldown increase on the side of Meteorologist. But it's only 1 second though. It's not too bad. Now, what's the next one? The next one is actually a Meteorologist healing ability. So for Meteorologist healing ability, now the maximum calm recovery from Rayfall will be 7 per second instead of 8 per second. So now it'll take longer for the survivor on the ground to heal compared to before. So 7 per second right now is like, let's say maybe it's like 13 seconds to heal instead of 12 seconds to heal now. That's kind of the overall adjustments change that we have. Then it will be our Gale ability. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get Geisha to stand here, right? And we're going to push Geisha out to see how far she goes out. So Geisha goes out, you know what, far enough, let's say. Geisha does go out far enough, but that's not really that far too. However, if there is a survivor on the chair, let's say, so we're going to get a survivor on the chair, this scale pushback will be reduced by 50%, and that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to get Geisha to pick up and to chair the survivor on towards the chair, and meanwhile, during that time, I will make a really big wind. And with that big wind made, I'm going to get Geisha to step back towards the same general direction, and now we're going to try push Geisha back to see how far she gets pushed back. So it's been reduced by 50%. Yeah, you can clearly see the big difference, right? When there's a survivor near the chair, it's not that long, it's not that big. But if there's no survivors near the chair, she gets pushed back all the way back here. So like the duration of the pushback has been significantly reduced by half when there's a survivor on the chair, which means she can't no damage rescue anymore. So that's Meteorologist nerf. Then let's see here for Peddler. So for Peddler, she's going to get quite a lot of nerfs, so we'll go through these one by one as well. So the first nerf is her nature affinity when she initially gains attack for her withered area. This area will be reduced from 12 seconds to 8 seconds, the total time it will stay on the ground or in the map. So instead of 12 seconds now, this will only be 8 seconds, more or less, a little bit less of a map control on the side of Peddler. Now, not only that as well, when we get a survivor on towards the chair and when there is a survivor near the chair within 12-meter radius, this withered area will be reduced from 8 seconds to 4 second total time it will stay on the ground. As we can see here, this is going to disappear in 2, 1, goodbye. There goes the wither area. Next of course will be her metallic affinity. So for Peddler's metallic affinity, what's going to happen here is it's going to receive an overall nerf. So what is it? For her metallic affinity, her movement speed will be reduced from 10% to 8% total increase. Her debuff for abnormal states such as slow, such as, you know, stun, and for pushback will be reduced from 50% to 40%. And last but not least, it's going to be her attack range reducing from 2 meters to 1.5 meters here instead. Overall, it is a very nice overall nerf. I do wonder whether NetEase is going to be chopping this down a little bit more during the future. Now then, the next nerf of Peddler is the fact that her items, so see on the bottom side of our screen, we can change between our items, right? So that cooldown has been reduced from, has been increased, excuse me, from 5 seconds to 6 seconds. So if we throw this out here, that's going to be a 6-second cooldown, and we can't use it again for another 6 seconds before, you know, it has been initially activated. So that's going to be Peddler's next nerf. Not only that as well, when we use our nature affinity vines, the range and the volume of this ability will be increased, in which it can alert the survivors into knowing when you're actually going to use this ability too. However, let's also not forget, if I just turn off my cooldown depletion, there is going to be another nerf on the side of vines. So for the vines, instead of, you know, the stun duration of 0.5 seconds to 2.8 seconds, if I'm not wrong, in total, depending on the range, it'll now be decreased to 0.3 seconds to 2.6 seconds. So it's an overall like 0.2 second reduction, but it's still pretty darn good for the side of Peddler. It doesn't really change too much, because you don't really need that time to catch up to our survivors anyways, and by the time you catch up to them, they'll be stunned anyway and they can't move or use their items. Now, this is going to be one of the bigger buffs for Peddler, and let me show it to you without saying anything, just by holding my skill. Do you see what I'm seeing? Now, objects such as chairs, such as pallets, and cipher machines too. So if I just come over here, right when we stand here, it will all be highlighted. So more or less right now, any object that is on the map within a certain vicinity, if I'm not wrong, it's 10 to 12 meters, it will be highlighted. This is especially really good if you want to place down like your nature affinity and you're not sure whether or not there's a pallet nearby. The big issue is the fact that you cannot throw your nature affinity down unless there is space across. But at least if you don't know whether there's a pallet or not, you can hold this ability and be like, oh, there's a pallet right in front of me, no problem at all. I'll just make sure that I get my speed boost or I get my chip damage out. Because see here, right? You can see a pallet, then what that means is you can use your ability to throw it out and to stun the character. I think this is a nice buff. I do think this is a really nice buff where we're able to see pallets if you've forgotten, oh, is there a pallet nearby here or not? Has it been dropped down? Or etc, etc. All we can actually test out here is I will get Priestess to drop down a pallet near us. So that's what we're going to do. If we just look over here, I'm going to move myself over here. So that's Priestess, right? We're going to drop the pallets down nearby. And let's just see, can we see the outline of the pallets that has been dropped down or not? So that's going to be Priestess here dropping that pallet down too. Let's hold our ability and see, you can see whether or not pallets have been dropped down. So I do think this is a really interesting concept what NetEase is doing right now. Of course, there are some big optimizations on the side, well, big bug fixes. So all of these are going to be bug fixes right now that we're going to talk about. So what is the first one? The first one is going to be, we fixed an issue where the movement command is needing a re-input after the vines ended up under certain conditions. So it was kind of just a vines bug there that we had for her nature ability. Next, we'll be fixing the skill description of metal affinity and mineral affinity, more or less just a little bit clearer on the side of the description part. And then we have an issue preventing Peddler from triggering attack recovery animation when she hits an obstacle. So if we just drop Priestess down and she struggles to freeze herself, apparently there was an issue which when Peddler hits like objects like the wall, she doesn't have an attack recovery animation like this in a sense. I guess for these low pallets, fair enough. But yeah, she doesn't have an attack recovery animation for this, so they had to fix this bug. And then the other one is we fixed an issue where if the survivor is trapped within this withered area, they'll be trapped here forever and ever and ever. The end. Just like how I like all my survivors to stay in my basement. But aside from all those jokes, yeah, that's that for Peddler. Let's look at it this way for Ripper. So Ripper has gotten some adjustments, some buffs, and I don't know whether it's a nerf or not, but I guess it's a player-based kind of game, so it's based on the feedbacks of players. This guy can now throw out Foggy Blades during charge attack, whether it's a normal one or whether it's the freezing Foggy Blade. So these foggy blades will come out now. So there's no on-off option here for Ripper anymore. Not only that too, it seems like we've actually optimized the animation of Foggy Blade. I think what this means is that it should be a little bit more smoother. But just one thing I want to share with everyone as well. You know how when you use your normal attack with Foggy Blade, or with just normal attacking in general, you do kind of move forward a little bit before you stop. You kind of scooch over a little bit before you stop. However, for chip damage, when you use it, you stop instantly. And when you charge attack with it, it's a little bit more obvious. You kind of stop instantly instead of like a little bit of an easier, fast animation. This could possibly be really good when it comes to Palette Mind Game. So you just don't step into the toilet, but that's just something I wanted to share with everyone. Now, for Ripper's last nerf, this is actually a nerf for Ripper here, but we reduced the Freaking Flog attack range by 2.7 meters to 1.8 meters. So our normal hit is going to be 1.8 meters now, and of course for charge attack hit, it'll be reduced from 3.45 meters to 2.6 meters. So the range here has been reduced significantly. Even for charging attack range, it's lower than the freezing attack range before the nerf. So that is it for Ripper. That's quite a lot of nerfs, I'll be honest. Now, the very important one for Ivy is her Ostracon. So Ivy here will be receiving another nerf too. And what is her nerf? So overall for Ivy, when you get leeched, right, the Ostracon is immune for 20 seconds. You can dismantle it for 20 seconds, and it takes a total of 5 seconds to dismantle it. So that's what we're going to see here. So see here, we got leeched, and that is a 20 seconds that you cannot get rid of the Ostracon. So that is quite a big thing on the side of Ivy. That's kind of where her full map control comes from. We're just going to wait here a little bit for the Ostracon to be ready and for us to go in and dismantle. We do a bit of a countdown here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, but Kudo, why did we say all that? We said all that because this is her actual nerf. When a survivor has been eliminated, the Ostracon immunity time before you can dismantle it will be now 9 seconds. So if we just leech here. Oh, I didn't really, sorry, if we just leech here. See, it's going to be 9 seconds instead of 20 seconds now. And the total time it actually takes you to get rid of that Ostracon will now be 2 seconds instead of 5. So we come here, 1, 2. There you go, the Ostracon is now gone. So more or less, Ivy is going to be a tie queen from this point onwards. A big nerf on the side of Ivy. Next will be Breaking Wheel. Breaking Wheel's nail board, which is his reticent here, his trap will be reduced from 10 seconds to 8 seconds for the duration of time it's actually on the ground. It will then be Undead. Undead will get a optimization here when it comes to his chop block. I think it was in certain areas like these when you chop block and then you dash down. Oh, it doesn't work over. Let's try this direction. You chop block and you dash down. This basically is a little bit faster than when you're gonna come down. Here is gonna be a well, it's not a side-by-side comparison video, but here is what it looked like before as we tried here once again. So see how fast that is, and we're just gonna show you another video here. Next will be BonBon. So for BonBon, we did a slight nerf on his chair cam. When BonBon puts a survivor on towards the chair, instead of the charge time bomb being 25 seconds before it detonates, it will now be 28 seconds. So with TME here on towards the chair, we're able to apply a bomb on towards this chair too. However, the countdown now will be 28 seconds instead of 25 seconds. More or less, this simply just means that survivors can still rescue other survivors on chair, even when it's 45% chair progress. Goatman's changes has been reverted here, in which you can still, well, basically on tier 0 you still recover 1.8 resentment per second regardless of what happens, but for tier 2 it will now go up from 2.07 to 2.1 per second. I'm quite sure before it was 2.2, right? So by technicality, for max presence it is still a nerf, but for early game the stacks are still the same on 1.8 per second. Next will be Weeping Clown. Weeping Clown's item application time reduction has been basically reverted. Instead of 1.5 seconds now, blah blah blah, it will now be 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and 4 seconds. So this time is still going to be the same. There's no buff, there's no nerf, it's just reverted back to the normals before the changes even applied. However, we still cannot forget that there is an optimization when it comes to Weeping Clown's logic when hitting walls. I think you can still graze the wall a little bit without too much issue. but things like that might happen if we're not too careful at all. From my personal opinion, I think what they have actually done here is they have reduced either the collision relief time from 0.5 seconds to 0.2 seconds, or maybe, just maybe, they've probably adjusted their map a little bit easier where, you know, it should be fine. But look, things like this can still happen instead of you grazing it. It's a bit better when it comes to Weeping Clown, because you can still go past the past the pallet and window areas here pretty safely. I can show it to you here as well. So for early game, we can basically go through paths really easily here without much issue. We can go through risky pallets as well, and it shouldn't really pose too much of a threat. If we go straight in towards church here, which I think is one of the harder there to be arounding, like this one single pallet here, you can go through it pretty easily with no issue at all. Well, yeah, with no issue at all. So like there is some relief time when it comes to collision, but I think it's being reduced from 0.5 seconds to 0.2 seconds. Now, the biggest adjustment of it all will be for Fool's Gold. So for Fool's Gold, I feel like they say they adjusted it, right? But I feel like they have kind of removed the whole effect of this. So if we throw this towards maybe this direction, and if we want to try to retrieve it, you can't slide off this anymore as before, right? We'll show you a before and after video too as well. You know what, we'll show it to you right now. So this is before, so I'm not even in between the pallet. I'm gonna try to pick that back up, and here's the after video. So as you can see from that After Effect video, it just seems like they said they adjusted it right. I feel like they just outright removed it. Because let's say if you want to maybe slide like this and then all the way over there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to throw that all the way over there. And I'm just going to see if I can slide over or not, since this is a slanted wall. Never mind, sorry, round one. We're going to try it again. Can we slide over? We just get stuck. We don't even slide anymore. We actually don't even slide anymore. Let's try this wall here if we can slide as before. So I'm going to throw that out, step a little bit over here. You generally speaking, don't slide no more. So I don't think sliding is going to happen anymore. But you know what? His max presence still is there, and I think that's what matters the most for Fool's Gold. And I just realized that's kind of the end of the whole buffs and nerfs. If you do enjoy this video, please leave a like, please leave a comment. I'll see you all in the next video too. It's a little bit surprising that they actually done 2 adjustments videos in the same season, which is something that's really surprising to me, I won't lie with you. But let us hear your comments down, well, now let's hear your opinions down in the comments below. I'll be really interested in seeing everyone's opinions on the buffs and nerfs, and for them reverting Goatman's nerf as well. I mean, it's still a nerf, but they still reverted it. So like at the end of the day, I guess, look, it is what it is. But that's gonna be it for now. I'll see y'all in the next one. Sure, everyone. Bye bye. Have a safe day, safe night.